Hey there, I'm going to show you today how to take your Instagram homepage, I guess it would be, and add a grid to one photo so that that one photo carries over multiple frames. So in this case, I took a portrait orientation. In fact, it was a portrait crop mode of a horizontal photo. And then I had to make it so that 12 different posts of one by one each could complete the whole. So it's a very exciting challenge, and yet it takes a lot of patience, and I'm going to show you how to do that in Photoshop. I will also say that you should probably not start posting until you can commit to getting all 12 posts done, so that people don't think that you have all of a sudden lost your mind and you're posting, strands of hair or whatever. Okay, so here we go. Shocker, another picture of my son. We're going to go ahead and first take the image of this photo, and we're going to just see how huge it is. And I'm going to go ahead and take it down to 72 pixels per inch because we're going to be on the web. It does not need to be that high res. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it 6 inches wide, and it just works out that it makes it a lovely 9 inches high, keeping that aspect ratio. And I'm going to say, okay, go ahead and zoom back in for you. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit Photoshop Preferences, and I'm going to talk about grids. So your grid, if you had already turned your grid on, you probably saw lots and lots of squares, which would take a lifetime to do. So I went ahead and changed my grid to give me a grid line every 2 inches. That way I get that really easy looking job. So I'm going to go View, Show, and I'm going to turn on my grid. And now I see I've got 12 nice boxes there. I've got this little leftover down there. I'm going to go ahead and just crop that out. So when I hit my crop mode, you might notice it's already set to a 1 by 1 square. I'm going to go ahead and do unconstrained. I'm going to crop this down so that you see exactly what my final is going to look like. Okay, so there I have one picture. Now I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this, and it's going to be up to your teacher to decide whether you do it the easy way, which just involves cropping and saving, which I think anybody can do, even a monkey, or you're going to do the more advanced way, which just familiarizes yourselves with the fact that Photoshop is an amazing tool and it can allow you to do different things. Okay, so the easy way that anyone could do would be to take the crop button. Now that you have that nice grid, let it do some work for you by setting your crop to 1 by 1 square, and then using that guide starting in the bottom right hand corner to crop the image repeatedly. So I'm going to go ahead and press crop, press enter, and before I do anything else, I'm going to say File, Save As, and I'm going to call that first post. Okay, and notice I've made a little folder, so I'm going to go ahead and say New Folder, and I'm going to call this Instagrid 2016 New. Okay. I already did this a couple times. Okay, so right there, first post is going to pop up. And in fact, you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to actually just call that 1. Okay, I'm going to say, okay, now, before I get antsy, I'm not closing my document. I'm simply going to have my history panel open. So I go Window, History, and I like to have my layers open too. I'm going to go back 1 step, and I'm going to now do that again in the second square. Okay, so again, I'm going to go in this formation because I'm not going to do this all on the tutorial for you. I'm going to pause and get some of it done. I'm starting in the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to snake my way through to the top until I have 12 images. So again, now I'm on number 2, File, Save As. I'm going to call that 2, press Save, okay, go to my history, go back a step, and do it again. Okay, so let me just get through 1 row for you. And then I'll finish that up, and then I'll show you the last couple of steps, and then I'll show you the more advanced way to do it, okay? So there's number 3. Remember that when you get to 4, you're going to go back to the right. Okay, again, think of how an Instagram works, which you probably are all familiar with. Okay, and so I carry on like that until I have 12. Okay, so forgive me, but I'm going to actually show you that other way right now. Okay, so again, remembering what we're doing, I'm going to go back to my original crop of my image, okay? And I'm going to actually turn this off. Instead of cropping that, I want to show you another option that will give you some practice using layers. Okay, so I still have the same grid. That first step is the same, regardless of which path you take. But this way you get familiar with layers, and you also learn how to use some of the automated functions on Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit my marquee tool. I'm going to draw into that square, and I'm going to make a layer via copy of just that portion, which is nice because you'll see it show up in my layer. So I'm going to say Command J, which is the shortcut. So if you forget, you can say Layer, New Layer via Copy, and there it is. The shortcut is Command J. Okay, so again, that's layer 1, which we'll also remember to be post 1. So the way layers work is that if I want to make that second layer, I have to click back on the background. I'm already in my marquee tool. And again, I'm going to draw another square, Command J, and that's going to be post 2. Click on my background, marquee, post 3, layer 3. Okay, and again, I'm going to keep doing that until I get all the way through all 12. Okay, so you can see that that's going to take some time. So let me pause and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so here I am. I'm doing my layer 12. And you see how I have all these different layers now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which corresponds with how I'm going to post them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn the background off. And this is the part that I like my students to learn, which is that if you go to File and you go to Scripts, you can say export all of those layers into their own file. So that's what's really cool here. I'm going to say export layers to files. I'm going to tell it where to go. So I'm going to go ahead and find that nice new little folder that I made for you guys. I'm going to tell it to save them as PSDs. Actually, I should go ahead and do JPEGs, but it depends on how you want to crop them. If you want to crop them in Photoshop before you put them in Dropbox and get them to your phone, you can do that. But you could also try just to crop them once they get into Instagram. So that's going to be the trick. So I did PSD before because I didn't want the background, and so I'll do that again just for fun. So I click Run, and then look what it's doing. It's taking each little piece of the puzzle, which, by the way, this is a nice way to make somebody a puzzle. And it says Export Layers to Files was successful. So I go back to my desktop here, and we check the file, okay? And I go into my instagrid new, and there I have 12 PSDs, okay? So I also had these from before. I've been practicing this for you. So the difference is you'll notice that they're not all cropped. So you can either crop them first or get them into Dropbox. So you'll notice on my Finder here that I have Dropbox already set up. So again, I've already done this a couple times today for you. But I have all of my folders or all my photos right here ready to go. Okay, so now what I do is, because I've already cropped them, I go to my Instagram, and this is going to be the tricky part. I'm going to try to flip around this video to show you now what I'm doing. So stay tuned.